What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Howard Bender. Welcome into the NFL DFS show. Week 7 is here, Howard. We've made it through a third of the season. Had a good week last week. Some good lineups out there. Some core plays that we are all in on came through for us. And we got ourselves an interesting slate here. Of course, we have your primetime games. We got 2 Monday Night Football games on the slate. We still have another London game. So only 10 games here on DraftKings. You play over on FanDuel. You got the 11 games. That 11th game on FanDuel is the Steelers and the Jets. And from a storyline perspective, that is probably headlining the week there, right? You have Devontae Adams traded to New York following the team's loss to the Bills. And then we may have a quarterback change, or seemingly looking like we're having a quarterback change in Pittsburgh, despite Justin Fields actually playing relatively well. Seems like Russell Wilson is in line to start that game.
Well, it's relatively well for
fantasy
DFS purposes and fantasy purposes. But Mike Tomlin is not basing his decision on what kind of fantasy points his quarterback gets, because he saved the day with 2 rushing touchdowns last week. I mean, this is a dude who now back-to-back weeks a completion rate of below 60%.
Mm-hmm.
The passing attack is just it's non-existent, and it's going to be problematic for the Steelers moving forward from a real life perspective. I get it. We're here for DFS talk and stuff like that. But as I'm like arguing with some numbskull on TikTok, right? Guess what? Justin Fields' fantasy value is 0 if the Steelers are going to sit him.
Yep.
Like there's no, I don't give a crap if he was the QB6. It doesn't matter. It's what the Steelers do. And that's the way it goes. And they want, and listen, for fantasy purposes, it's probably more beneficial to have Russell Wilson in there for guys like Pat Freiermuth and George Pickens. And if the Steelers decide that they do need to get another wide receiver, which is something they need to do, then so be it. Then there. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game on Sunday night. The problem is, obviously though, you've got one of the top tier secondaries in the New York Jets going up against Russell Wilson. Like Russell Wilson, he's probably going to get the start this Sunday, and then it's back-to-back games against New York. Both teams have great defenses. Giants have a great pass rush. They're going to make life difficult for him. So this is kind of a gauntlet here that Russell Wilson could be running through to get to the bye week and then kind of regroup and see what happens
I was
there.
say, how long of a leash should they give Russell Wilson? He goes out there the next 2 weeks and looks worse, throwing the football than maybe Justin Fields would have.
He can't look worse than Fields throwing the football. Fields looks terrible throwing the football, dude. He looks terrible. Like, that's one of the things. And again, I get it. We're a DFS show here. We are, talking about fantasy points and things like that. Yeah. But again, the floor is 0 if you're not starting.
I agree. Let's talk about some guys that are starting here as we pull up this week's 10-game slate over on DraftKings. And we also our FanDuel players. Howard plays a lot over on FanDuel. We had the FanDuel lineup for all of you last week. We'll go through this slate here today. Your top price quarterback on DraftKings is Jaden Daniels. He's $7,600. He's your second highest price quarterback on FanDuel by $100 under Josh Allen. Daniels home versus Carolina. Josh Allen against Buffalo at home, $7,500. We do not know if Amari Cooper will be available for Buffalo this week. Buffalo making the trade with Cleveland to acquire Amari Cooper. Jalen Hurts and CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes round out your 7K tier on DraftKings here. I'm certainly 100% in on Jaden Daniels. Wrote him up in the quarterback coach. Everybody should be looking to play him. Probably going to be super chalky. I think he's the easy, obvious play. But what are your thoughts sort of on the rest of that 7K range?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that it's an interesting group. I don't love, I don't love Josh Allen in like the sense. I mean, listen, if he's got Amari Cooper, then yes, I'm in for it. I will use Josh Allen. I'll be happy with that. I think Jaden Daniels is a great play this week. We know that you run on Carolina, but Jaden Daniels is just going to keep doing. They're going to let him just keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Not going to say regardless of game flow or game plan, but more in the sense that if they're winning, they're still going to want Jaden Daniels to pass some because you need to get better. Otherwise, you look like Justin Fields and you're a schmuck. So Jaden Daniels, I mean, I think he's a great play in this game. The key to this game is Carolina.
Right.
Like, I'm on the other side in that sense. Like, I think everybody and their grandmother is going to use Jaden Daniels and Brian Robinson and Terry McLaurin because it is Carolina. But in order for that game to really pop, you need Carolina coming back and doing it there. So, I'm looking at Andy Dalton, but we'll get to that. In the 7K range here, if I'm paying up, I will happily pay up for Daniels. I think I'd probably look at CJ Stroud going up against Green Bay as well. I think that's going to be a matchup that I think is tough, but not as tough as some people think. Green Bay's secondary outside of Jair Alexander is really not good. And if Jair Alexander is monitoring what Stephon Diggs is doing the entire time, well, then Tank Dell's going to be open and Dalton Schultz is going to be open and Stroud's going to find them. So I think out of this group here, my favorite would be Daniels and Stroud. Allen, if Amari Cooper's playing.
Okay. Yeah, no problems there. I don't mind Jalen Hurts. I know the defense for the Giants obviously has been improved, but getting Devonta Smith, getting A.J. Brown back, everybody and their brother is saying Saquon Barkley revenge day. So if you're in tournaments, play the quarterback, right? And what if he ends up being Jalen Hurts that scores the touchdowns instead and gets the fantasy points? I'm out on Patrick Mahomes. I have him as my quarterback fade of the week here this week. On the road against San Francisco, had the longer week to sort of prepare. Everybody's going to be like, oh, look what Juju did last week and all those things. I'm not going to bite in on that. I'm going to ignore Mahomes at 7K because I like Jordan Love below him at $6,900. 4 touchdown passes in 2 of the last 3 weeks. I could very easily see Houston Green Bay being a high-scoring kind of shootout style game there. So I like Jordan Love. Really, the whole 6K tier for me, I think, is in play. Don't need to list them all off. Burrow has its merits. Obviously, a tougher spot for him, but Love, Goff, Purdy, Cousins, Darnold, like I'll play pretty much any of them really there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll favor Darnold here going up against Detroit just because I think that Detroit's secondary is their vulnerability, and I don't know what their pass rush is going to look like without Aiden Hutchinson now. I'm not saying that they're going to lay down, but I think that knowing that Aaron Jones is questionable, likely to miss this game with a hip injury, it just kind of looks like it might fall a little bit more on Darnold's shoulders for Minnesota to try and stay undefeated.
Yep.
I love the Cousins play here because I think this game against Seattle, again, shootout vibes for me. I think it's like a 51 over under there. I mean, Cousins I like. You know what? Give me some Superflex DFS and let me just stack the game there and go Cousins and Geno Smith. Geno Smith not in that 6K tier, but right there on the cusp at 5,800. And I love Geno Smith. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he's throwing 40 times a game.
Darnold's the cover of the quarterback coach this week, so I'm 100% in on with you. I love home teams off buys. I think that those always, especially when you have a good offensive mind. Kevin O'Connell, we know he's a quarterback guy. He's an offensive guy. He's now had 2 weeks of game plan for a bad secondary in Detroit that just lost their top pass rushers, you said. So definitely like Darnold there. But yeah, Geno feels a little disrespectful here, honestly. I mean, he's never really cracked. Only once has he cracked the 6K price tag. He leads the league in passing yards. He throws a ton. The touchdowns aren't there, and that's kind of what's holding him back from being like a huge DFS play. But 25, 22, 17, under 6K. I'm with you here. This game does become a bit more of a shootout. And if you can actually throw some touchdowns for once, the sky is the limit. I think for Geno Smith there as well. The other guy I'll just throw out here, I think Tyler Huntley could be interesting this week. You know how bad Indy's defense is. It's another team off of a bye. We believe that Mike McDaniel is a good offensive mind, a good quarterback coach guy. Huntley kind of got thrown into the flames here against Tennessee, off the streets, makes a start. Second week against New England, still learning the playbook, still kind of on a fly on the road. I get it. He hasn't looked great, but now you're going to give him 2 weeks to prepare. He still has Tyreek Hill, still has Jalen Waddle. Devin Achane practiced in full today. So they're going to have a full offense around him. at $5,100 against a Colts team in a dome, I kind of think Huntley, if I'm making, a 3 max, 20 max, I think he could be in the player pool this week.
Ooh, for $100 more, I'll take Andy Dalton. Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to hate on the Huntley call.
Sure.
I mean, listen, if you're getting a quarterback at this kind of a price tag, they really don't need to do a lot. They need to just not shit the bed completely.
Right.
Is really what it takes, right? Like, I mean, throw 150 yards and a touchdown and you're getting even money right there. Anything above that, and you're pretty psyched about what's happening here. So,
yeah, no arguments. I like them both. You're right. Dalton, the other side, if you're going to stack it one way where everybody's playing Daniels, you go Dalton here. We'll talk about a wide receiver, Deontay Johnson. We'll see. Did not practice today, but it's Thursday, so we'll give him a chance. Running backs, Kyren Williams, Bijan Robinson, from a rostership perspective, are the two guys people are going to. You told everybody that would listen, play Bijan Robinson this week against Carolina. 15 for 95 and 2 scores. Frustratingly enough, the end of the game was all Tyler Algier. So Algier got the 100-yard point bonus. Bijan Robinson got left sitting at 95, but great to see the usage. Great to see the production out of him here. Those are the two guys everyone's going to this week. Thoughts here basically on the 7K and up tier of running backs this week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think a lot of people are floating over to Bijan because he is so cheap. He was 6,600 last week, which was just criminal. So, the bump here to 71, it makes sense to stay invested, especially in a game that's got, some shootout vibes, right? Yep. They like passing the ball to Bijan Robinson. Listen, I think Kyren Williams is on the cover of the DFS watch list this week. I absolutely love him. And I'm happy to pay up for him. I think that, there are some things about the Raiders defense that do make me a little nervous, right? Like, I mean, get rid of Devontae Adams, and Antonio Pierce is a rah-rah coach, right? Yeah. He's like, like a poor man's Robert Saleh almost, in the sense that
guy's fired. So.
The papers, the people love him. They like his attitude. He's a player's coach kind of a guy.
Yeah.
And so I do think that they do kind of step up. I actually took him as like an upset pick in my confidence pool just because I just needed to go contrarian. And I think everybody and their grandma sees that the Rams are favored by 5.5. And, kind of forgetting the fact that the Rams offensive line does suck. It does suck. And there is the chance that, something happens that, I'm not saying they stuff the run. I'm just saying that,
sure.
that maybe the Rams don't turn it out as much and, and you're wondering where you're at. But I like Kyren Williams a lot. Just the matchup in general on paper. I take it as an upset, as an upset pick to, kind of move the needle a little bit, move up the standings in a confidence pool.
Sure.
But, if I'm like looking at this game from like a simple standpoint there, I think, it all does favor the Rams. It all does. So,
might have Cooper Kupp back this week as well.
It might have Cooper Kupp back this week.
Someone had tweeted out, if you just did a touchdown parlay of David Montgomery and Kyren Williams this year, you'd be up like 40 units or something like that. Just David Montgomery, Kyren Williams scoring every single week so far to this season. So
David Montgomery gets such little respect. It's
no respect at all. He is $6,600. Quickly going back, I like Joe Mixon a lot this week as well. Guy came back from injury, 13 for 102, 3 for 30, 2 touchdowns. I know the Patriots defense obviously is bad, but Green Bay can't really stop the run either. So I do like Joe Mixon in that range. Mentioned already Bijan there. 6K range, mentioned Montgomery, $6,600. Laughable price on Isaac Guerendo here, obviously.
Dude, that's insanity. That's crazy. You want to talk about disrespect to David Montgomery. You're going to make Isaac Guerendo the same price as him? Like, F you, DraftKings.
That's just DraftKings protecting themselves, not knowing if Jordan Mason's going to play or not.
I know, but it's such a dick move.
I agree. So Montgomery's there. This is a tough spot for both running backs. We don't obviously know Aaron Jones. Doesn't seem like they're going to play. I don't know if you have interest in Ty Chandler or not, but Detroit really good against the run. Minnesota also really good against the run. So
yeah, I'm not, it's kind of funny from an overall DFS standpoint. I'm not exactly interested in that game because I think that these are two division rivals who are going to be at each other's throats. This is going to
Sure.
be a smash mouth game. This isn't going to be like a runaway game. And both these teams are going to need to do something to really kind of shake shit up. Like, I mean, yes. Okay. Justin Jefferson, because it's that terrible secondary. Yeah. I'll play him.
Yeah.
But I don't really, I don't like either side of the running game, even though Ty Chandler's going to be a bargain and David Montgomery's getting disrespected. But, like I'll avoid that game and avoid Montgomery to pay down. Why am I not paying down for Chuba Hubbard at 6,500? What is this guy done? What has this guy done to warrant like keeping his price completely suppressed? It makes no sense to me.
I think that the running backs in this game are the perfect comeback in sacks. If you're playing Andy Dalton and Deontay Johnson this week, go play Brian Robinson, right?
Yeah.
Run all over this team. If you're going to play Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, go play Chuba Hubbard if you want on the other side, because both of these running backs are great spots. The pass game usage for Chuba Hubbard, I mean, is this guy Christian McCaffrey? Like, I mean, look at the numbers. Almost 100 plus rushing yards a week, and he's getting 4, 5, 6 catches a game. I mean,
who he is?
The fantasy reduction has been insane for Chuba Hubbard.
Do you want to know who he is?
Who is he?
He's 2023 Rashad White.
Well, all the inefficient running. Is that what you're talking about here?
No, I'm just talking about the fact that Dave Canales is giving him complete volume and he's utilizing one running back for everything.
Yeah, because efficiently he's been really good running the football.
Yeah, so. You see it, but like here's a guy who, because of Dave Canales' system, if he were to stay, like I mean, the fantasy community, it's a bummer because he's going to lose value when Jonathan Brooks comes back.
Does.
But
I'm surprised they're even pushing Brooks back as they are.
But this is, to me, this is like that perfect example of why we preach learning coaching systems. Like we talked about this before coming into the season. I have so much Chuba Hubbard from like late round picks. Like it's ridiculous.
Yep. I know. I followed my one of my best ball Millie teams that's in first place right now. Has Chuba Hubbard in there as the RB3, and he's basically my RB1 of that group. So like him, like Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Buffalo can't stop the run. Tennessee's offense mostly sucks, but Tony Pollard doesn't. Tony Pollard's been handling the workload right. Dallas probably wishes they had Tony Pollard right now.
Yeah, my concern about this game only is that, Buffalo's getting like a little shot in the arm. Hey, look, we're looking to improve the team and stuff like that. That Tony Pollard could get game flowed out.
Okay. Let's see.
It could get out of hand if the Captain Mayonnaise doesn't, serve it up properly.
Are we buying Kareem Hunt? 27
Always.
For 102.
Yep. Listen, if he's going to see volume, it's a tougher matchup against San Francisco. Well, everybody thinks it's a tougher matchup.
Yeah.
San Francisco's still giving up like 120 rushing yards per game. I think they've allowed 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns. Like their DVOA ranks like 14th or 15th. They're like right in the middle there. Mm-hmm. So, listen, it's a running back. It's a bell cow back in an Andy Reid system.
Yep.
I think you have to invest. And I think that, it's great that everybody's like so scared. I have him in the Contrarian Corner video this week for the sole fact that is projected at like 6 to 8% ownership right now. And, here's a guy who's he's in a great situation. And the only thing standing in his way is the reputation of the San Francisco 49ers.
That, and I've had some questions on Clyde Edwards-Helaire this week. People wondering, was activated and has been logging full practices all week. He wasn't hurt. He was dealing with PTSD, Howard.
Uh-huh. Oh, I know what was going on. Do you know why he had PTSD?
Was it a stabbing or an accident?
So he and his buddy were trying to sell their Xbox.
Yeah.
And the dude who they were selling it to pulled a gun.
Yeah.
And
Robert, yeah.
He then pulled out his gun and shot the guy.
Yeah.
And now he's all freaked out by that. What the hell are you doing with a gun, Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I don't know. Everybody seems to have ignored that aspect of it. Right? It's all in self-defense, but what the hell are you doing with a gun?
He obviously knew he had to protect himself, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, he has been dealing with PTSD from that, but apparently people are concerned that he was always the next man up, and now that he is ready, that he is going to cut into some of the cream hunt workload. We'll see. Austin Eckler, obviously with Brian Robinson back, is going to take a little bit of a hit, but was very good from an efficiency standpoint in his role earlier this year. Can always break one. Ty Chandler, as I mentioned, is 56. I don't really like that matchup against Detroit here.
Madison, you're going down further. Madison against the Rams, I think, is a sneaky one because I don't think a lot of people are into that at all. Yeah. But the Rams' run defense is terrible. Like, people are running on the Rams hard, and unless the Raiders get put away like quickly, and he could he get game flowed out, sure, but I would look at that, and then at 5,400. Maybe take a shot on a little flex play here on Tyler Goodson. Jonathan Taylor, specifically went out and told everybody, if you got me in fantasy, you probably want a handcuff.
Yeah.
Right? Which, warmed my heart that he's talking handcuff in there. But then Trey Sermon also, he's dealing with a knee injury. They originally said it was a shoulder injury, but it's actually a knee injury. And he's been limited and not taking part in practice. You could have Tyler Goodson as the primary running back in this game against Miami, which Miami's run defense is not very good.
Nope. It's not. They got Anthony Richardson back this week. We think, we expect, we assume it's going to be Anthony Richardson here for the Colts. What are your thoughts on Tyler Algier? Are we he's had one bad game from a rushing standpoint against Tampa Bay. Then he ran all over Carolina. Do we think we see 18 for 105? Why did all of a sudden did he get all of this work?
I honestly don't know. I had a whole rant on that, which you guys can find. Go to my social media on Twitter at RotoBuzzGuy on SiriusXM. And I was like, I don't really understand what it is. Like, the coaches, they've got it in for Bijan. And I don't know. Maybe Bijan is like Boobie Miles from, Varsity Blues, and he's just an asshole, right? And he just mouthy, got all the talent in the world, but he's just mouthy. I feel like that might be DeAndre Swift too. But I mean, if that's Bijan Robinson, then that's what's going on. Because if you watch the game last week and you listen to the broadcast, everybody was talking about the fact that they were force feeding carries to Algier with sitting there, trying to get him to 100 yards. Meanwhile, Bijan's sitting on 95 yards, and he's standing there next to the coach with his helmet on.
Yep. Bijan Robinson, by the way, played the fewest snaps all season, 56% of the offensive snaps. Now, maybe on a game, they had his best game.
Is it load management? Like, that's another thing, is like Coop and I were talking about, the AC joint sprain plus the hamstring issue. Is that what's going on? And they're just trying to keep it fresh, or are they just going to end up leaving it in this kind of a timeshare? I don't really know. And the problem is that, again, the Falcons don't give a crap about your fantasy team or your DFS lineups. And so,
the other problem is that Tyler Algier is actually good.
Yeah.
He ran for 1,000 yards as a rookie, and then they drafted Bijan Robinson, and he was like, ooh, that's kind of surprising. Like, they just had 1,000-yard year out of Tyler Algier, and he is actually a good running back. They don't need to rely so much. So anybody else at the running back position for you?
This far down, no, probably not.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
Nope. There's Danny Mendick. Never mind.
So where is Nick Chubb 6K? Expected to debut this week.
Yeah, I want to see it first. Okay. I love Nick Chubb. If you're doing 20 lineups, 150 lineups, go ahead, get a
great
slice.
matchup against Cincinnati. So
it's not really that great of a matchup now, because now they've got Sheldon Rankins and BJ Hill both back. So like, all of a sudden, like, that was one of the things, is the problem with their defensive line was that Rankins and Hill were both out, and you could drive a boat through that hole on the defensive line. Now that both of them are back, the Giants had to turn to like Tyrone Tracy, being predominantly a pass catcher, because they just weren't making any headway between the tackles.
Sure. Wide receivers. Justin Jefferson is your top priced wide receiver. Again, Minnesota coming off of a bye week. Jefferson's been him all season long. Now he gets a great matchup against Detroit, who can't stop really anybody except Dallas, apparently, through the air. Top guys are there: Chase St. Brown and A.J. Brown. Again, don't really have any qualms with most of these guys. Neighbors expect to be back. Diggs, Cup could be limited. Maybe that's your worry there, but obviously he had a ridiculous amount of targets, 21. Then he got hurt in the first half of this game against Arizona. So like, I'm really just fine if you want to plug any of these guys in. I don't have a strong anti-stance on any of them.
I don't have an anti-stance on any of them either. I think they're all very much in play here. If I had to favor something, it would be Jefferson and Chase is the two that I would favor as they should be favored. So I'll look down to the rest of the tier there.
Sure.
Who did you stop off on? Did you hit Neighbors?
I basically went down to Neighbors. So
yeah, all right. So Neighbors, yeah. I mean, I'd give him a look. I'm still in on Tank Dell over Stephon Diggs. Price change as well as just the coverage.
Yeah.
And knowing about Jair Alexander. So further down, I mean, I'm looking at you got to give Drake London, Terry McLaurin, and DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Like those three right there. You know what? Deontay Johnson, right underneath Puka Nacua. Get the IR guys off of the board here.
Don't you hate that? They're
so stupid.
There. And don't be worried about the Deontay Johnson not practicing thing. He basically hasn't been practicing during the week all season long. They're just doing their best to keep him ready for a game day. So unless he doesn't practice Friday, then I would be concerned. But as we're recording this now, on Thursday, I am less concerned about the DNP practice for the Thursday here. He's been great. The targets have been great. It's a good matchup against Washington, so I'm in with you there. T. Higgins been really good since coming back.
Yeah, he's definitely in play. This, again, we keep running into this, right? It's like, why pay up when you've got these guys sitting here in the 6 to 7K range that are all, they're getting good targets. They're getting good, they have positive matchups. I think Higgins and Dell right there are fantastic options. No doubt.
My boy, Jameson Williams, called him out last week. Had the big touchdown catch, 3 for 76.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is $2,400 more than he is. And JMO's got the big pop plays that can get you those DFS points at 6K.
You want me to say something else? Let's move to another tier where we don't really care about, but we can. Listen, again, Amari Cooper at 5,800. If he's playing, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm in.
You have Downs, Addison at 56, Mooney at 56. Yeah.
How good has Mooney been?
Well, last week, not great, but he's been good every other week.
He has been great every other week. I like
big
him.
Play guy, second wide receiver 2. You think shootout? You don't want to pay Drake London. You got some Darnell Mooney there at 56. Romeo Doubs came back from his suspension, 2 touchdown catches.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've talked about this a ton. Like everybody, they ignore Romeo Doubs, and I don't really understand why. He's the guy who moves the chains. He's been the snap leader and the target leader when he's healthy. Like he's the guy that Jordan Love always turns to.
He's not sexy. That's why.
What's that?
He's not sexy, right? Like Jaden
there's nothing sexy about it. You're not getting 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. No, you're getting a guy who's going to give you 5 or 6 catches, right? Maybe 4 or 5 catches for somewhere between 50 to 80 yards in that range, and he could get into the end zone a couple of times.
Yep, I agree with you. Good cash game guy, Romeo Doubs.
Great cash game guy.
Again, if you're in on maybe the Huntley play, Jalen Waddle is not a $5,300 wide receiver. I know you recommended dropping him in your TikTok last week, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Targets have been fine. Game 1 with Tua, 5 for 109. He's not a bad wide receiver. The offense just kind of isn't working right? So at 5,300, if you're thinking maybe you want to take some shots with 5,100 Tyler Huntley, maybe Jalen Waddle, 8 targets last week, 2 weeks ago. Maybe it makes some sense to go there.
He's all yours, baby. He's
thanks.
all yours. I've dropped him already.
I know. Lockett, everybody loves DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith-Njigba, yet like week in, week out, like Tyler Lockett's the guy there, 8 targets, touchdown last week. Can go there. I think he's cash game play worthy.
I like Leggett. I think he's a good option.
Okay, yeah.
And in GPP, I in a GPP tournament, I do like Christian Watson this week against Houston.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, comes back, has the 44-yard catch, right? That's his game. So I'm certainly fine with that at 49.
What about your boy? What about your boy Jerry Jeudy? $4,800. I guess he's the new number one.
I mean, I guess. I don't.
I'm
not doing anything. Not until Deshaun Watson's like not the quarterback anymore. I have some interest in Njoku just from a standpoint of like tight end kind of blows, but I don't think not on Jeudy here. I liked Whittington, but obviously Cooper Kupp possibly coming back. It's gonna probably take a dig into that value. You can always throw darts at Ray McLeod, though I liked him better when he was closer to 4K than mid 4Ks.
Yeah. How about Juju Smith-Schuster at 4K? Or you're not in on that.
Well, I mean, this is like, where did this come from? He had nothing? He had zeros.
Right.
He had 2 for like, where did this come from?
Came from Rashee Rice being injured and them realizing that Justin Watson is just a good blocker downfield, and Xavier Worthy, he's really fast, but like it's limited workload there. So you got to go to somebody who's going to be reliable. And
I think you probably have to play him due to his price. He'll be in the playbook. I'll say that he'll be in the playbook because he could be the number 1 wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes. So that guy has to be in the playbook. Where's Noah Brown at? Do we pass?
He's just under Juju Smith-Schuster. You didn't see him behind that questionable
tag. Put him in the dartboard last week. We talked about it on this show about him coming back, and I said he was trending towards being the number 2 wide receiver in this offense before he got hurt. Came back last week, checking his snap count here, but still 8 targets. He played where's the snap percentage? Game logs. Brown played 64% of the offensive snaps, so basically where he was prior to the injury. We've seen this dude be good before. I like Noah Brown as a 4K play here against Carolina this week.
Yeah, I like Noah Brown as a 4K play as well. He went into the watch list. I mean, listen, they need somebody to step up and be that second reliable target for Jaden Daniels. I mean, I think it's perfectly fine. I mean, it's, and he can play some on the outside, but they'll go to 3 receiver sets and he'll chill out in the slot. So I think that's it's a definite solid move.
Tim Patrick is going to be your dartboard this week, just as a heads up to everybody who's watching.
Who? What?
Tim Patrick's going to be in the dartboard this week for everybody.
I'll tell you what, man. Luke McCaffrey should, if this groin injury for Noah Brown does kind of limit him at all. I think Luke McCaffrey deserves a dart throw too.
Sure. Well, we'll monitor that injury status more. Tim Patrick is a good player. The guy has suffered bad injury after bad injury year after year, but he's starting to make some headway there as the wide receiver 3 in Detroit. I got nothing else down here though.
No, I don't think we need to go even further down there. Tight end.
Kittle's got the GOAT matchup. Obviously, the Chiefs allowing the most fantasy points to tight ends. Touchdowns in 4 straight games. Hard to ignore.
Yeah.
What George Kittle is doing right now. But really, any of these guys, Kelsey's back. Bowers keeps doing what he's doing. Laporte is mispriced to me. Had the 1 catch for a touchdown on like a fluke play. I'm not really buying in totally on Sam Laporta here. So, but if you want to play Kelsey, Kittle, Bowers, 100% fine, all formats.
I favor Kittle and Bowers, actually. I like Kittle a lot this week against the Chiefs, obviously for obvious reasons, but Bowers also is going to end up being a target monster for Aiden O'Connell. They're going to have to utilize him in that fashion, with no Devontae Adams there. Kelsey makes me a little nervous just because you got Fred Warner, who's just, he's just an absolute beast out there of a linebacker. So
yes, I agree with you.
I worry about that one.
Obviously, the usage the last 2 weeks, but better matchups for Kelsey. Kyle Pitts, signs of life.
Sure.
4,500, good matchup against Seattle. Good price tag for him there. I mentioned Njoku for me again. 7 targets, 5 catches. He's back to basically being the number 2 target in this offense for all things considered.
Hey, you skipped right over Dalton Schultz, man.
He's boring. He's so
Who
boring.
cares if he's boring? He's going to see targets because you don't have Nico Collins, and he's getting the work. And you look at the matchup here against Green Bay, a team that has struggled mightily against the tight end.
I guess.
That's fine. You don't have to
like
him.
He's like Pat Fryermuth right now. That's like,
you know what? And I'll take Fryermuth too. Absolutely. On FanDuel. On FanDuel, give me Fryermuth against the stupid Jets. Why the hell not?
Sure. There's really no value tight ends.
No, there are not any value tight ends. Parkinson at 38 is probably as low as you really want to go. You could say, I'll tell you what, if Cooper does not play for Buffalo, I would look at Dawson Knox.
Okay.
You don't care. Okay.
Dart throw.
Eric All is a dart throw.
Where's Eric All at? What's his down here? Gets a couple of catches a game, so if he gives you these games, you're more than paying off. If he gives you these games, it's not great, but not the worst. Where's Theo Johnson at?
Everybody's bench, including the Giants.
Last couple of weeks, I know Neighbors is coming back, so maybe that takes away from him. But 9 and 6 fantasy points and 28 for Theo Johnson. Could be a spot, but that's it. Let's go defense.
Okay.
So for me this week, I didn't have that like automatic go-to plug that I generally have had in recent weeks. The Bengals like defense isn't good, but obviously now trading Amari Cooper away has me at least a little interested in Cincinnati. I'd like it better if they were home, but Watson's pretty trash. Tennessee's pass offense is terrible, but you're paying up for Buffalo here. I don't know. What are your thoughts on defense?
I don't really have any particular favorites, and so when I don't have any particular favorites, I just look for a team that's like super cheap and has some potential for some turnovers or some some work like that. And I'll tell you what, if I'm doing a GPP lineup, I'm going to use the Giants defense against the Eagles. Giants at home. Again, like you said before, everybody's in on Saquon Barkley, so maybe it's Jalen Hurts. Everybody's in on the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe the Giants D, which has been a good defense lately. They held Cincinnati to 16 points there on Monday Night Football.
17, yeah. So they're currently the highest projected roster defense on DraftKings. So
perfect. There you go.
$2,500. All right. Do you have a lineup for us here, or?
I do. I've got a FanDuel lineup here.
Sure.
Let's see if it fits in here. Ready? Here you go. Go to give me some Andy Dalton, baby. I'm building a GPP lineup with a Carolina stack.
Okay.
So it's Dalton, Chuba Hubbard, and Deontay Johnson. Bing, bang, boom. And yes, put Brian Robinson opposite them.
Okay. Giants defense, I imagine you said, right?
Yeah, Giants defense is in there.
Okay.
I want my slice of Seattle, Atlanta. So give me DK Metcalf and Darnell Mooney.
Metcalf, Mooney.
You could obviously, if you wanted to go the other way and go with something more like a Tyler Lockett and a Drake London, that would actually work as well. But I'm gonna go with Metcalf and Mooney. I'm gonna pay up at tight end and take George Kittle as the chalk play there.
Okay.
And that gives me, you got 4,400 there?
Yeah.
How much is Tyler Goodson?
Over 5K, I believe.
54. Yeah, 54. So Tyler Goodson fits into this lineup in FanDuel with not a single penny left over.
Oh, we got a cheap wide receiver down here. Where's Juju? Here you go. You got a little comeback. Kittle.
Look at that. Yeah, there you go. A little correlation to Kittle. I like that.
So there we go. We got a whole lineup of correlation. We have Carolina versus Washington here with Dalton, Hubbard, Deontay with Bijan, or not Bijan, might as well be Bijan, with Brian Robinson at $6,400. We have Metcalf and Mooney. We got Kittle and Juju, and we got the Giants defense here. $400 left over for everybody. Again, playbook would be out at the time of watching this. All the coaches are out. Watch list is out. You can get Bender, obviously, myself in the Discord. We'll be live, myself and Andrew Cooper at 11 o'clock on Sunday to get you ready for the main slate, and Bender and Coop before that on Sirius XM at 10 a.m. We appreciate you all tuning in. You want to give a like, give us a subscribe. Free way to support the work we do here over at Fantasy Slime. And, of course, you see right there above us, we still have the 7-day free trial going on. I took down, Howard, an NHL GPP this week using solely our NHL DFS projections and playbook. So nice. It is not just NFL that you get access to with our 7-day free trial. It is all of our content. And now is actually the best time to sign up because NBA starts next week, which means you'll get the first 3 or 4 days of the NBA season for free, NHL coverage for free. It is a UFC main card pay-per-view this weekend, so you get the UFC playbook for free. So a lot of great content right now, 7-day free trial. You can scan the QR code that's going on the screen here, or go to fantasysarm.com/win. Use promo code Let's Go. Let's Go gets that first month for less than $20 after your 7-day free trial expires. So check us out, fantasysarm.com/win. Promo code Let's Go. Scan that QR code right there on the screen. Howard, good luck to you in week 7. Everybody, good luck to you as well. We'll catch you later.